Iron Man, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America. They keep making superheroes. They won't stop. Audiences have gotten fatigued. Alternatively, audiences don't like poor writing. Superheroes are okay, maybe. Nobody has the attention span these days to watch something, especially if you're like, I don't know if I can do another superhero thing. I don't know. So I'm gonna give you an accurate enough overview of season 1 of The Boys so you don't have to worry about being fatigued. Because we're gonna get through this season, not as fast as you would like, but faster than if you watched it yourself. Once upon a time, there was this little nation called America, where some people were born with the ability to, fly, go invisible, read people's minds, or be super smoking hot women. One might call that a blessing from God. The televangelist, VOD International, claims. Now, who is VOD International? Well, Mr. Beast, BlackRock, Corporate Baby, Pharmaceuticals. That's who VOD is. VOD manages a team of the strongest soups, the 7, who they go around saving the day and being brand safe. Outside of soups, there are still regular people, such as one Huey Campbell, who, like a regular person, works a dead-end job and has a girlfriend he loves very much. In 1 minute, Huey is talking about how awful his job is and what him and his girlfriend can do in the future, maybe afford an apartment together finally, move out from his parents' house. And the next moment, A-Train, the fastest man alive and member of the 7, runs right through his girlfriend Robin, effectively obliterating her. Her death gets ruled an unfortunate accident. Vought claims that there was a bank robbery that A-Train was in the process of stopping, and they send over a lawyer to get Huey to sign an NDA saying, I'm not gonna talk about what happened, and if he does that, they'll give him a little bit of cash, maybe a few grand here or there, just something to tide him over, nothing life-changing happened to him or anything. Huey, the regular guy man, is distraught. And he's like, I need to make this make sense to me. I need to figure out what's this bank robbery. I need something to make sense so that I don't feel horrible about the fact that my girlfriend is dead. And when he tries to look up that bank robbery, there was no bank robbery. So something's going on. Vought is obviously hiding something because why are they claiming there's a bank robbery and there's not a bank robbery and having him sign an NDA? Why would you need to do that if they aren't doing anything sketchy? So as Huey is just spiraling, he gets approached by this guy named Billy Butcher, who is a man that fucking hates soups. He's staunchly anti-hero, and he sort of is a vigilante who has some connections with the CIA and blah blah blah. And he recruits Huey. He says, hey, I know you're going into VOD. I know you're going into the 7 to sign that NDA. Why don't you take this little bug and plant it in the conference meeting room? And then I can get some dirt on the superheroes and we can expose them for being the terrible pieces of shit that they are. And Huey is like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do this because this is fucking awful what happened to me and I can no longer idolize these guys. They need to be exposed. They're bad, obviously. At the very minimum, they're flawed and I need other people to see their flaws. So as all this regular human anti-hero stuff is going on, there's a new kid on the block by the name of Annie January. The 7 are down a member and they're looking to fill a slot, and the electric girl next door is the perfect gal for the job. And Annie January, or Starlight as her hero persona is, jumps at the chance. Because her entire life's dream is to make the world a better place, and what better way to do it than at the peak of what it means to be a hero, at the people who are doing the most, the 7. These are the heroes. So she's like, hell yeah, I'll join this group. I want to make a difference. That excitement is very, very short-lived. Because the minute she gets inducted in as an official member of the Seven, a fellow member, the Deep, who is like a fish boy, he has gills, he talks to animals, sort of lame, superpower, but whatever. He says, hey, if you want to be a part of the Seven, you're gonna have to suck me off. And he coerces her into having oral sex with her, so her first day on the job ends with her being sexually assaulted. Huey goes to sign his NDA and to plant the bug, which almost goes perfectly if it wasn't for the fact there was a man creeping around, an invisible man, translucent, the member of the Seven, which, as you guessed it, his power is to go invisible. So he sees Huey planting the bug and he goes, man, something's going on. I'm gonna go check him out. I'm gonna go talk down to him and say, what are you doing? So Translucent goes to confront Huey, but Huey isn't alone. Butcher's there too. And Butcher's like, uh-oh, shit's going down. Let me run him over with my car. So now Translucent is knocked out and they kidnap him because obviously Translucent knows something's going on and they can't just let him be, because that would sort of derail the entire mission. So now Butcher's like, okay, I'm gonna go get some of my former vigilante bros because we need more hands on deck to figure out this whole Translucent situation and this hero thing. We just need more hands on deck. So he gets Frankie, who is an impulsive jack of all trades. You need bombs, you need drugs, whatever you need, he's got it. He's the man to get the job done. And then the other guy we get is Mother's Milk, or MM for short. And he is the more rational brains of an operation. He's gonna be calm about stuff and, maybe think through some things first before taking actions, which is always needed in a group. So now the boys are on a time crunch. Even though it is expected for Translucence to sort of, be missing for a few days, creeping off and doing whatever weird stuff a guy that goes invisible and peeps on people does. But eventually, his presence is gonna be noticed. Or should I say, his presence is gonna be missed. They're gonna have to figure out a way to get around his impenetrable skin, to take him out. And wouldn't you guess it, Homelander, who by the way happens to be the sociopathic Captain America, Superman, Golden Boy, leader of the Seven, is like, hey Vought, Translucence is missing. I think something's wrong. And Vought's like, no, he always goes and creeps. This is normal. He's just being his normal goofy self. And Homelander is like, I'm gonna look into this. I don't like how this is looking. This feels like there's something going on. And there is something going on, but this is bad news for the boys because you don't want Homelander sniffing after you. And honestly, Homelander almost catches him. He finds them outside of where they have Translucence, but luckily the boys had thought ahead. They 2 steps ahead, right? They rigged the bomb to go off in a warehouse on the other side of town, and so when Homelander gets there to where Translucent is being held, they set the bomb off, and Homelander goes and is like, I'm gonna go check that out, and sort of they get a get out of jail card free for at least that time, and they go, oh shit, we really gotta figure out how to take care of Translucent. So how do they figure this out? Well, Frenchie is watching a show about how turtles, they have hard shells, but soft interiors, and he goes, wait a damn minute, I know how to deal with this guy. And so is born the infamous butt bomb. So while all this is going on and the boys are taking care of business, Huey is sort of having a crisis of faith. He's like, my girlfriend just died, superheroes are bad. I thought I was just gonna do some corporate espionage, not start killing people. I don't know how to feel about this. And so as he's going through the process of I don't know how to feel about this, sort of just talking to Translucence, and Translucent is not making a case for his life at all. And Huey quite literally has his life in his hands since he has the detonator for the butt bomb. And he ends up mistakenly, on purpose, setting off the bomb, taking Translucence to the farm upstate. And this moment sort of just cements the fact that Huey is no longer just a regular guy anymore. He is a boy. Before translucence was taken care of, he gave them a nugget of information that, hey, the reason that A-Train has been acting weird is because he's been juicing. He's so afraid of no longer being the fastest man alive that he has turned to drugs. And he has been visiting his secret girlfriend Popclaw and, juicing up every so often. And when he ran through Huey's girlfriend, he was high. Popclaw is a washed up teen soup. She is past her glory days, and she's sort of just like the child star gone wrong case. And so the boys go to visit her house, and they witness her accidentally killing her landlord, and they use that fact to blackmail her into giving them information about the drugs that A-Train is using, the mystery drug Compound V that A-Train has been doping himself up with. They get the information about the supplier, and when they go to the supplier, who are just like a bunch of gangsters, they end up finding this mute feral woman, and they rescue her. That sort of ends up being a dead end, so the next sort of source of information that they can go after, the next person that might have information about what's sort of going on, is the soup Ezekiel. And he so happens to be having a VIP meet and greet at an upcoming Jesus festival because the soups have sort of branded themselves as children of God. And this is sort of the crowd they pull in with. The only thing is, how are they gonna get into this VIP meet and greet? Like, this is last minute. No one's just gonna have an extra ticket lying around for them to use, and they can't just, break in. Well, conveniently for them, while everything has been going on, Huey happened to meet Starlight. And the two sort of bonded over, going through a really shitty period of their lives right now. And Huey is able to receive a VIP pass through her. So Huey goes to this meet and greet, and he corners Ezekiel, and he threatens to release their non-existent sex tape unless he tells them where Compound V comes from. Because of course Ezekiel can't let the Jesus crowd know that he is a promiscuous homosexual. So Ezekiel gives them the location of a hospital, and therein lies the dirty secret of VOT International. Heroes are not being born, they're being made. In the hospital, they're literally doping up babies with Compound V. Butcha is big mad that Huey has been pursuing a relationship with Starlight because there was one goddamn rule, and it was, we don't like soups. No. Bad. So Butcha ends up taking Huey to a support group for people who have been injured by their soup partners. And Butcher is less than amused by hearing about all these people being like, my lover, they broke both my legs, but I still love them. And oh, she froze off my dick, but I still love her. And he's like, you guys are insane. You guys are stupid. I don't know why you don't see what I see, but you need help. I don't need help, you need help. And after therapy, Butcher drops a bomb, metaphorically, and reveals the reason why he hates soups. It's because 8 years ago, his wife was sexually assaulted by Homelander, and she's been missing ever since. She's probably dead. So he has a very, very personal vendetta against Homelander. And he just, he expanded it to be like, I hate all of them. They all suck. Well, Butcher and Huey are in therapy. Frenchie and MM are like, hey, let's figure out what's happened with this woman. And they go, I think I had the guy for the job. And they track down the former soup Mesmer, who his whole ability is being able to read people's minds, a telepath, if you will. And they recruit him to read the woman's mind, and they find out the woman is Kimiko, and she was kidnapped from Japan by a terrorist organization, and as an adult, she was experimented on and given Compound V, and it turned her into a soup. The only reason they trusted using Mesmer is because they thought he was out of the hero stuff for good. But turns out no, he is in fact a rat. And he immediately scampers off to Homelander and is like, oh, Homelander, I have some good information. Maybe you can give me a job in the Seven. Like, it doesn't have to be big. And Homelander goes, yeah, blah, 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 information. So Homelander sees Butcher's face and something clicks in his mind. He goes, I think I remember this dude's wife. And he's like, hey, whatever happened with this woman? Whatever happened with Butcher's wife, Becca? I had a good time with her. And he goes around to his different Vought handlers and he's like, hey, whatever happened with her? And they reticently are like, oh yeah, that woman. Yeah, she got pregnant from that. But, her and the baby died. And, we didn't want to tell you because we thought it would make you sad. And, it doesn't really matter because they're dead. And Homelander's, are reasonably upset. Like, sure, okay, I believe you that you're telling me the truth now. Okay. Because the thing is, Homelander, everybody thought he was infertile. Especially, Madeline Stillwell, who's the VP of Hero Management and sort of his number one handler. And because of those facts, she uses his desires to have like a human connection, a family or whatever, and also just his mommy issues in general to sort of control him. And so, like, this not being true is sort of fucked up because, like, this is the one person he sort of trusted, and now it's like, oh, maybe everything's a lie. I don't know. Things to think about. I am a murderous superhero. Outside of just, making soups, they also have sort of a goal to get them on military payroll, The military-industrial complex, that's where all the money's at, those defense contracts. And so because of everything that's been going on, Homelander gathers the Seven and he's like, hey guys, we have a leak. And this is serious, and like, you guys really need to stop fucking up and actually do your job and, not let our information just go willy-nilly. And as he, projects, as he shows that, hey, these guys are causing troubles and like, we need to do something about it. Starlight looks up and she's like, I know that guy. That's Huey. Huey, what? Huey's not capable of whatever you're saying, miss. Huey wouldn't hurt a fly. He can't kill translucent. He wouldn't be using me for information. And unfortunately, yes, he is. But he also cares for her. But yes, he is using her for information. And additionally, A-Train is like, oh, I've seen that man before. I ran through his girlfriend. Interesting. Things are making sense for me. So, with the evidence that the boys have gathered on all of Vought's wrongdoings, injecting babies with drugs, creating soups, not telling anybody about it, they're like, okay, we're going to take this to the CIA. The CIA tries to stop Vought's bid into defense contracting, but unfortunately, that information is too little too late because there are souped up terrorists now. It's no longer just the good guys that have superpowers. Now the terrorists do too. And unfortunately, the only thing that stops a souped up terrorist is a good guy soup. And unfortunately now the government's in a situation where it's like, we can't really say no to Vought. We sort of have to accept him to let him join the military. Otherwise, we're going to have like a terrorist issue. And, that's a bad thing to have as a government. So now the boys are fucked. Vought is no longer on the government shit list. So the government isn't really, willing to step in too much to make sure that the boys are okay. And now they're sort of being downgraded into being just criminals again instead of, vigilantes who are going after those corporations. So Huey and Butcher, they go to see an old CIA contact, an old The Boys contact, to try to figure out Homelander's weakness, which happens to be his weirdly mommy sexual relationship with Madeline. But while they're on their mommy issues trip, the other boys get kidnapped. Butcher does not care that they're kidnapped. He has tunnel vision and he's like, I'm not gonna let anything stop me from going after Homelander. I don't care. And Huey's like, okay, I still have a conscience. I'm not leaving them behind. And so he goes to Starlight to sort of, apologize and be like, hey, sorry I used you, but like also Vought is really shitty. And so like I did use you, but it was for like a good cause. And hey, maybe you also should have more problems with Vought, and sort of spills all of their dirty laundry. Butcher gets Madeline as a hostage, and Homelander shows up, and he quite frankly does not give a fuck that she is being held captive with a bomb strapped to her. Apparently, Homelander has been finding out the truth on his own, and he doesn't really care for her affection anymore because she is a dirty little liar. It seems like Homelander isn't the little pawn that Vought seems to want to think he is, because apparently he was the one who's been creating the souped up terrorist. It was just a happy accident for Vought that Homelander has been going around and giving a bunch of terrorists Compound V in the happenstance that one of them survives, and then they become a souped up terrorist, like has happened. So while Butcher's like, I have Madeline, I got you right where I wanted you, Homelander's like, I don't care, Madeline didn't tell me the truth about Becca. And he goes, you know what, I don't need you anymore. And he just ends her. He goes, laser beam face, and he sort of melts her to death. And he sort of turns around and he's like, Butcher, this whole revenge plan is really emotional and it's honestly really weak. Cause like you're telling me you're this butthurt about what I did to your wife, but you don't even know what actually happened to your wife? You spent 8 years holding this resentment, but you didn't actually track down the truth of what actually happened with your wife? And Butcher, he can't take any constructive criticisms, and he does what any good boy does, and he just sets off the bomb, and he gets knocked out. Huey purposely gets caught to be reunited with the other boys. He sneaks in an old wire retainer, which is really nasty, that Frenchie is able to use to pick the lock on the door and to, release them from their holding cell. And then a shootout ensues. And it's like, well, what are they gonna do? They're just some average guys. How are they gonna win against all these guys with guns? A large, brilliant flash goes off, and Starlight appears to save the day. And just as the boys are about to go free, A-Train shows up and goes, hey you, Huey, fuck you. You killed my girlfriend Popclaw. And the reason he says this is because A-Train ended up killing his own girlfriend, Popclaw, in order to keep the secret of his Compound V problem, but he is just not able to process that he is incapable of, holding the own guilt, and so he pushes this onto Huey, and he's like, you did this, you made me do this. And he goes to try to, probably kill Huey, but you know what happens when you abuse Compound V? Your heart goes out. And A-Train collapses to the ground. And Starlight goes, hey man, you guys should run off with the rest of the boys, and I'm gonna call this in, make sure he's fine. The boys, Stan and Butcher, run off into the sunset, barely scraping by. And now we have Butcher waking up to Homelander standing over him, saying, rise and shine, baby boy. I have a surprise for you. And what is that surprise but an alive and well Becca and the son that her and Homelander share. And that's how season 1 ends. Now before I end the video, I'm just going to say that the subplot that I didn't mention earlier is that Starlight sort of has an arc where she's like, you know what, I don't need to be beaten down by the Seven. I don't need to abandon all of my morals and ethics in order to, be a part of the Seven. And she ends up speaking up about what the Deep did to her. And the Deep ends up getting shipped to Ohio to sort of be in exile. And while he is there, he has a sexual assault encounter as a woman shoves her hands into his gills during intercourse. And it's sort of just, it's like, okay, he got what's got for him, but also that sucks for him, and this is just bad in general, and I just don't like it. But that's also just an arc that happened, so I'm mentioning it. That's season 1 of The Boys, and if I forgot anything important, just, put it in the comments below, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Peace.